Hello, and welcome to Easy English Stories Home, where we break down the secrets of becoming a fluent English speaker. I'm excited to guide you through today's session, where we're going to focus on one of the biggest challenges English learners face: how to improve your skills and sound fluent. If you've ever felt like you understand the language but struggle to sound natural when you speak, this session is for you. Before we dive in, let me share a little bit about why I'm so passionate about helping learners achieve fluency. For over 10 years, I've been working with students from all over the world, from different backgrounds and levels of English. I've noticed that even though many learners have the basic grammar and vocabulary down, they often hit a roadblock when it comes to speaking fluently and confidently. And that's what inspired this podcast. We'll be talking about real, practical ways to improve your English skills so that you can speak naturally, clearly, and with confidence. This session will take you through a journey filled with detailed examples, real-life stories, and insights into what it takes to sound like a fluent speaker. So, if you're ready to make some significant progress, stay with me, because the next hour is going to change the way you approach learning English. 1. Understanding fluency. Let's start by defining what fluency really means. A lot of people think fluency is about speaking fast or having a perfect accent, but that's not true. Fluency is about flow. It's about speaking smoothly without unnecessary pauses, hesitations, or constantly searching for words. Think of fluency as a river, smooth and constant. It doesn't have to rush, but it also doesn't stop abruptly. When you're fluent, your words flow, and they come naturally to you. This doesn't mean you have to speak fast like a news reporter. Native speakers often speak slowly, especially in casual conversation. The key is to speak confidently and with a steady rhythm. Take the example of Carlos, a student from Mexico. He studied English for years and understood grammar very well, but every time he tried to speak, he found himself pausing too much, overthinking, and getting stuck. This made him feel embarrassed, and he thought he'd never be fluent. But the problem wasn't his vocabulary. It was his lack of practice in speaking continuously. He wasn't used to letting his thoughts flow naturally in English. Carlos decided to start practicing speaking every day. At first, he recorded himself reading short paragraphs aloud. Then he moved on to having short conversations with his English-speaking friends. Over time, his pauses became shorter, his thoughts came faster, and his speech became much more fluent. The lesson here? Fluency comes with practice, not just knowledge. 2. Listening, the foundation of fluency. Now, one of the most underrated tools in language learning is listening. Yes, listening. It's easy to focus on speaking and forget how important it is to listen to native speakers. But here's the truth. You can't speak well if you don't know what fluent speech sounds like. Let me share the story of Anya, a Russian student who struggled with her speaking skills for years. She had memorized countless vocabulary lists, studied grammar books, and even took intensive English classes. But her speech was still broken, and she couldn't understand why. One day, her teacher suggested something surprising. Stop focusing so much on speaking and start focusing on listening. Anya spent hours every week listening to English podcasts, watching movies, and paying attention to how native speakers talked. She focused on the tone, rhythm, and intonation of their speech. She didn't just listen for vocabulary. She paid attention to how words flowed together. Over time, something incredible happened. Anya's speaking began to improve without her even trying. She absorbed the natural patterns of speech simply by listening. Within a few months, she was speaking more confidently and fluently. Research shows that people who spend at least 40% of their study time listening to native content improve their speaking skills more quickly than those who don't. So, if you're serious about sounding fluent, start listening to native speakers regularly. Listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, or even eavesdrop on conversations when you're in public. The more you immerse yourself in real English, the more fluent you'll become. 3. The power of vocabulary expansion. Once you've got the foundation of listening down, it's time to expand your vocabulary. A large vocabulary is like having a bigger toolbox. It gives you more ways to express yourself. But here's the trick. You don't need to know every word in the English language. In fact, most native speakers only use a small fraction of the English vocabulary in their daily lives. Take David, for example, a software engineer from South Korea. David knew a lot of technical English because of his work, but he found it difficult to hold casual conversations. His problem wasn't that he didn't know English, it was that he didn't know conversational English. He had spent so much time learning professional vocabulary that he didn't focus on the words and phrases people use in everyday life. David decided to switch things up. He started learning phrases and idioms that native speakers use regularly. Instead of just saying, "I'm tired," he learned to say, "I'm worn out," or "I'm beat." He began to pick up casual slang and expressions that made him sound more natural. Within a few months, his conversations flowed more smoothly, and he no longer felt out of place when speaking with native speakers. It's important to understand that most fluent English speakers use between 10,000 to 20,000 words regularly. Focus on the most common words and expressions. You can do this by reading books, watching TV shows, and keeping a vocabulary notebook where you write down new words and practice using them in sentences. Repetition is key. Practice using new words in your daily conversations, and they'll soon become second nature. 4. Mastering pronunciation. One of the biggest challenges non-native speakers face is pronunciation. Many learners feel self-conscious about their accents or worry that their pronunciation will make them hard to understand. But here's the good news. You don't need to sound exactly like a native speaker to be fluent. The goal is clarity, not perfection. Let's talk about Sophia, a businesswoman from Italy. Sophia spoke English well, but she had a strong Italian accent, and she felt that people sometimes struggled to understand her. Instead of trying to eliminate her accent completely, she focused on improving her pronunciation of specific sounds that were causing confusion, like the th sound in think or the. Sophia practiced these sounds using tongue twisters and phonetic exercises, but she didn't try to change her accent entirely. As a result, her pronunciation became clearer, and she was understood more easily in professional meetings. Her Italian accent was still there, but it no longer held her back. You can do the same. Identify the sounds that are difficult for you and practice them. There are many online tools and apps that provide feedback on your pronunciation, and you can also mimic native speakers to improve. Remember, the goal is to be understood, not to sound exactly like someone else. 5. The importance of practice and persistence. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent practice. Many learners start strong but lose motivation when they don't see immediate results. The key to success is persistence. Take Amir, a university student from Iran. When Amir first started learning English, he felt overwhelmed. He had difficulty speaking, he often forgot words, and he felt discouraged. But instead of giving up, Amir made a commitment to practice every day. He set small, achievable goals, like speaking for 5 minutes a day in English or learning 3 new words a week. Over time, these small actions added up. A year later, Amir's English had improved dramatically. He wasn't fluent yet, but he was far more confident, and his progress motivated him to keep going. It's important to set realistic goals. Fluency takes time, and everyone learns at their own pace. Focus on improving a little each day, and don't compare your progress to others. Whether it's speaking with a language partner, practicing in front of a mirror, or recording yourself, make sure you're consistently practicing. 6. Using technology to improve fluency. In today's digital age, you have access to an incredible amount of resources that can help you improve your fluency. From language learning apps to online tutors, there's something for everyone. For example, Lily, a student from China, used technology to fast-track her learning. She downloaded an app that connected her with native English speakers around the world. Every day, she spent 30 minutes practicing English with people from different countries. The conversations were casual, and she focused on improving her speaking fluency. The app also gave her feedback on her pronunciation and vocabulary, helping her improve faster. There are countless tools available to help you on your fluency journey. Whether it's an app that helps you practice pronunciation, a podcast that lets you listen to native speakers, or a language exchange program that pairs you with a speaking partner, make the most of the resources at your fingertips. Conclusion: your journey to fluency. We've covered a lot today, from overcoming the fear of speaking to the importance of listening, expanding your vocabulary, improving your pronunciation, and practicing consistently. These are the key steps to becoming a fluent speaker. Remember, fluency isn't about perfection. It's about speaking with confidence, being understood, and enjoying the process of communicating in English. If you take one thing away from this episode, let it be this: fluency is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, patience, and persistence, you will get there. Keep listening to English, keep practicing, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a step closer to your goal. Thank you for joining me today on this session of Easy English Stories Home. I hope you found the tips and stories helpful. If you enjoyed this session, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. I'll be back next week with more practical advice and real-life stories to help you on your journey to fluency. Until then, keep practicing, and remember, you've got this.